Fatwa and the Mufti, the position of Fatwa, which is giving religious edicts, and the Mufti, the one who does this, is of a great importance. And we always, encounter this question: who should be given fatwas, particularly in the West? Who should be given religious edicts to Muslims who live in the West? Who should inform the people of Allah's rulings? Who should inform the people of belief, practice, their interactions with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, their interactions with the people, and how they should be? The Mufti that issues religious edicts should have certain personal characteristics, aside from the knowledge, which needs to be had by this Mufti, but he should have certain personal characteristics. Maturity is one of the personal characteristics of the Mufti. The Mufti has to be adult, has to be sane, has to be also wise, because the Mufti does not only need to sort out halal from haram, sort out good from evil, but the Mufti also needs to be able to recognize the better of two good things and the worst of two evil things. So maturity, wisdom, smartness, these are personal characteristics of the Mufti. Not the least of them is uprightness. Uprightness is extremely important as well. We're trusting the Mufti with informing us of Allah's rulings concerning various matters that pertain to our lives, pertain to our social interactions, our marriages, our transactions, financial transactions, also our belief. We ask the Muftis, or we ask the scholars about matters that pertain to belief and what we should believe about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the world of the unseen, what we should believe about the hereafter, and so on and so forth. So uprightness is extremely important. You don't ask any person, you need to ask someone who's upright, who's trustworthy, in addition to the other personal characteristics. As far as knowledge is extremely important for the Mufti. And the knowledge that needs to be had by the Mufti is not, basically a simple matter. We're talking about someone who will convey to us, who will sign edicts on behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as some of the scholars expressed it. The Mufti is signing on behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's telling the people that this is Allah's ruling concerning this issue or this matter. So he needs to have comprehensive knowledge of the language, because the language is the vehicle through which the revelation came to us, the Quran and the Sunnah, the text of the revelation, and these are the sources of legislation in Islam: the Quran, the Book of Allah, the Sunnah, the traditions of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He needs to be also aware of having great amount of knowledge of the Quran itself, not only the interpretation of the meanings of the Quran. He needs to understand the different implications of different words. He needs to understand what is muhkam, what's perspicuous. He needs to understand what's mujmal, what is ambiguous, what is clear, what is unclear. He needs to understand what's nasikh, abrogator, and mansukh, abrogated. And he needs to understand the text, the context of the revelation of the Quran, because the reasons of the revelation have a great impact on our understanding of the various verses and various instructions of the Quran. He needs to know the same thing when it comes to the implications of different words and different phrases. He needs to understand the same thing about the Sunnah. In addition to this, he needs to know what's acceptable and what's not acceptable, what's authentic and what's not authentic, so that he could take that which is authentic and that which is the acceptable reports from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He has to have also knowledge of the points of consensus, so that he does not contradict the consensus of the scholars. He needs to know about the points of difference, so that he does not take a very rigid position regarding a matter about which the scholars differed or disagreed, and there are various viewpoints that are sometimes of equal strength. He needs to also know about analogical deduction or qiyas. Qiyas is extremely important to extrapolate from the finite sources. The text of the revelation is certainly finite, and you have infinite circumstances and conditions that arise in the lives of people. So the extrapolation or extension of the finite text of revelation through qiyas or analogical deduction is extremely important, and the Mufti needs to know the principles of qiyas or analogical deduction. It is also extremely important for the Mufti to know the reality of the people, and to know how to realize the benefits that are in conformity, agreement with the maqasid al-sharia, or the objectives of sharia, and he will not be able to do this without having good knowledge of people's reality and circumstances. These are some of the things that the Mufti needs to be aware of, in addition to the personal characteristics that we started with.